of the best ways to communicate with people is to be real, and to talk about the things that people really care about. What I love about what you do is that your voice in your show is really about your listeners. And I think especially now, this is a moment in the country and in life where people really want to know they're seen and heard, and that they're part of a community, that they're not out there alone. And so I'm really glad to be with you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time. I know you're a very busy person. I really like to get to know people on my show.
Okay.
Obviously, we are going to talk about all the issues that are going on, but I also want to get to know you as a person
Yeah.
today. Is that okay with you?
Of course.
Okay, let's get into it. Growing up, my mother is a psychologist. Yes.
Oh, how is that?
Oh, it was great question. Now in hindsight, like fabulous.
Yeah.
When I was in it, I was like, Mom, why do you know everything? Like, leave me
Yeah.
alone. But
Yeah.
one thing I really valued was she really emphasized the importance of mental health and
Yes.
talking about our feelings and
Yeah.
communicating. And
Yeah.
I know that you were primarily raised by your mother.
Yes.
Can you share with me, like, what values did your mom instill in you from a young age?
Well, similar to what you described about your mother, my mother definitely impressed upon us the importance of us being able to express how we were feeling. And a lot of it, I think, was also about her teaching us that we had agency. And so that things don't just happen to you. And so think about how you were feeling, not just as a way to dump, but also as a way to kind of figure out where you are in a moment, right? And center yourself. I mean, to your point, when I got older, like when I was in, I don't know, late teens, my 20s, if I came home with a problem, I'm telling you, every time if I came home with a problem, the first thing my mother would do is she would look at me like other mothers.
By the way, Cappy, this was filmed while everybody was dying and suffering in North Carolina for the hurricane.
I understand she's on a campaign, so I'm going to kind of overlook that. The premise of all this, people, women included, you need to step out. They're discussing each other's feelings and how their mothers raised them.
Yes.
Jesus fucking
And the
Christ.
reason here's why this,
Cappy, I'm glad you see that. Go ahead, Paul.
Here is the reason that they're doing this from my perspective. And I understand I'm not big political analyst here, but look, it's just psychology. They've had an abysmal 4 years already in things that are really important to people at home, particularly economically in a number of things. So she's been a part of an administration that's basically been a failure for 4 years, going from withdrawals, militarily a failure with withdrawals to Afghanistan, with money going to different places, money not going to other places like to the hurricane victims, and then, devaluation of the dollar, all that stuff. So whatever, we can start listing things, but it's been a 4-year failure. So she can't ride on policy and look smarter or better than Trump on policy, because people are going to look at policy and go, wait a second, I felt better when Trump was in office, even though the guy's kind of an asshole, but I haven't felt better in the last 4 years. Things have been messed up here. And so, like, which way am I going to go? So the way that they're trying to do it now is to appeal to the sensibilities of people. I'm a real person. I care about this. What was that saying? I grew up in a middle class small town, like whatever. It is to go away from policy and to stick with, hey, I'm just like you guys. We're in this together, all this stuff, to counteract Trump, who looks like an asshole sometimes, right? So Trump made better policy decisions, but it's to attempt to shift people's attention away from that. And unfortunately, because we're a little too comfortable in 2024, I don't know if we're uncomfortable enough for people to vote different. So shifting to emotions and feelings and personalities.
That's all this
just might work for her,
Feels before reals.
Yeah. So
go, Cappy, say it.
I was just going to say, could we also say this is the byproduct of essentially having a female influencer who audience is female is going to set the tone for this?
Oh, it gets worse.
Right. Well, that's her show. Her show is about.
I know. So I mean, it's going to be this way. But okay, I do want to get to the train crash. I want to see the train crash.
There we go.
I believe we're hugging their kids and like, oh, honey, what can I do? And my mother, the first thing, what did you do? But here's the thing that I realized. She was actually teaching me, think about where you had agency in that moment. and think about what you had the choice to do or not
That key word is agency that they're going to use to manipulate down the road.
do. And like, don't let things just happen to you. And I realized that was a really powerful thing she was teaching, which is figure out how you can take charge of a moment.
Yeah.
You can't always. We don't have control of everything, obviously, but don't just let things happen to you without thinking about, okay, what can I do in this moment?
It's fun to hear you say that because these are themes that I've talked about on my show before of like,
Yeah.
we can sit here and dwell on something that happened to us,
Mhm.
but then we can also say, yeah, but what could I have done in that situation to have autonomy over my life? People can do things to you, but you can only decide how you're going to react. That's all you have control
But that's
over, right?
exactly right. But that's exactly right. And in that way,
And the only way you can react in this context is to vote for Kamala.
you realize, don't let anyone take your power from you. You know, that's
Again, keyword agency, take your power from you.
But the Democrat Party, again, not to be this simple, the Democrat Party is all anti-agency. Nothing's your fault. Get other money from other people. What you said, she wants to give reparations to black people. Dude, you're not poor because of slavery from 300 years ago. You're poor because your culture and society condition you to make very, very bad choices. If anything, it is the abdication of agent. Now she's a responsible adult. Now she's serious about agency. But continue on. I mean, it's just it's a lie right off the bat.
Well, that's what you're going to hear the whole interview. She's going to try to counteract what everybody knows about that party and about what they've stood for so far. So they're going to try to counteract that with these interviews and trying to personalize her. You know, and it's, of course, it's a sham, right?